Watch, I'm gonna find your card. You ready? Watch. I'm gonna reach in, look. And you know what? That will never come out of there. It's sealed inside. That's yours too. Hey guys, Matt Johnson here at Penguin Magic, and this is a classic of magic, Jay Sankey's Airtight. If you don't know the routine, imagine this. You have a deck of cards, you have a card chosen and signed, it goes back in the deck, and then you take the deck in a balloon and you visually penetrate the deck into the balloon. You then blow the balloon up, tie the end, and all the cards are inside. Now comes the impossible. You reach literally in through the wall of the balloon and pluck out one card, their signed card. Watch, I'm gonna find your card. You ready? Watch. I'm gonna reach in, look. So I'm going to teach you my version of the routine, my setup, my handling, and not only that, a brand new visual penetration of the deck into the balloon that you're just going to love. You're going to get to learn it firsthand from me and put this great piece of magic into your working repertoire. This is Jay Sankey's Airtight. I'm a magician. You don't pay me. I'm gonna show you a trick, right? I do magic because my sister used to charge like $100 a trick, and I was like, that's a really good living, so. Well, start the car. All right, look, do me a favor, take a card out, mommy. Mommy, I feel really weird. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? All right, take a card. This is all kinds of weird. All right, take a card out. Where you from? Where you're from? Where? Where's that? Africa. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So we both like all came a long way to like, yeah, all right. Cool. All right, mommy. Right, do this. This is like totally my fancy right here. All right, mommy, don't put that on there. All right, take the pen, Here's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna turn around. You're gonna take this side, right? And you're gonna write your name, your telephone number, not your telephone number, just your name, and then you're gonna blow on it, make sure it's dry and cap the pen, yeah? All right, you go ahead, do that. Make sure I don't look. Real quick. Are you done? Is she drawing like a picture or what's she doing? Are you done? All right, cool. I'll take the pen. All right, go ahead, hold the card. All right, watch this. Watch this. No, don't fold it, just hold it. Yeah. Okay, watch this. Watch. I'm gonna put it in the middle of the deck, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's in the middle of the deck, right? How cool would it be if I did this and it came to the top?
Okay. Right now?
You want to do it?
Ready?
All right, do it.
I'm ready.
Is that it?
No.
That would have been so cool, though. All right, watch. 51 to go. All right, look. Do you know what these are, Mommy? Do you know what these are? Balloons, yeah?
Okay.
Balloons.
Okay.
Watch this.
I thought it was something else.
Yeah. I know you did. That would have to be a pretty big, right. You're making up your own show now. All right, watch. I'm going to come down here. I'm not proposing, okay? I'm not asking you to marry me, all right? Okay, watch. Here's the balloons, here's the deck, right? Don't look at me. I know it's hard to resist, but don't look at me. No. Look here. Just don't look at me. Mommy, don't. Oh, God. Flashback. All right, look, watch the balloons. I'm going to take the balloons and the deck, and I'm going to try and put the deck in one of the balloons. Watch the balloons in the deck. Watch. Look. Wait, watch this. Watch, I'm gonna find your card, you ready? Watch, I'm gonna reach in, look. Is that yours? You know, that's yours, yeah? You know the best part? You don't pay me anything. You get a souvenir. You tell your friends that's yours too.
Oh, give me a hug again.
You wanna hug me now? What's your name? Esther. Leslie. Matthew, nice to meet you. Mark, pleasure. Charlotte, nice to meet you. And this is your sister, right? Good, all right, yeah. Mum's like this, isn't it? All right, here we do. Charlotte, deck of cards. Do me a favor, my love. Take them, mix them, shuffle them, pretend you know what you're doing. That's all right, just don't worry, it's all you. You got it, my love? And while you're doing that, I'm just going to adjust my mic here. All the way from Rotherham in Las Vegas. What are the odds? Right, you done? Good. Do me a favor, Charlotte. Take a card, but don't look at it real quick. Got it? All right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to sign your name on the face, this side. You're going to sign your name, blow on it, make sure it's dry, cap the pen, and then tell me when you're done. Leslie, you're going to make sure I don't look. All right, go ahead. Quick as you can. Real quick, make sure I don't look. And just sign your name and cap it when you're done. Is she done? Yeah? Sorry, it's so loud. All right, I'll cap the pen. All right, now go ahead, blow on it, make sure it's dry. You got it? All right, watch this. Watch. I'm going to put it in the middle of the deck. Watch. How cool would it be? It's in the middle if it came to the top right now. Watch. Is that your card? That would have been really cool though, wouldn't it? I'm going to nail that. All right, look, 51 to go. All right, I got a better way. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the deck. We're going to take these balloons. The idea is that we're going to suck the deck into one of the balloons. Now watch. 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 Is that your card? You see, you'd have missed that, Mark. You'd have missed that. Hold that. And you know what? That will never come out of there. It's sealed inside. That's yours too. I'm going to grab those. Leslie, give me a hug, my love. That was painless. Mark, give me a hug.
Thanks, man.
Charlotte, give me a hug. It was lovely to meet you. Enjoy yourself in Vegas. Off you go. Hey guys and girls, I'm Matt Johnson and welcome to Airtight. Airtight by Jay Sankey is a classic that's been around for a very, very long time. It was so good that David Copperfield actually chose it to present on one of his TV specials in his stage show. It is a classic, it's fantastic, and those in the know that have been doing this for a long time love it. I'm one of them. However, can we make a fantastic trick better? I think we can. I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but there are some nuances that I've come up with over time that I think are really important. Right from setting up the deck inside the balloon, right through to the switch, right through to palming the card off and pulling it out of the balloon. All these little nuances that I fixed along the way, I think elevate this effect, and I think will, while they may not make the overall look of the effect better to the audience, it will certainly make it more commercially viable for you to do in the real world of performing magic. And not only that, it's now, I don't think, something that you have to save for that one special client at your event. You could at least do this 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, using the switch that I use. So let's get into Airtight. Let's get into what we do. You're going to get a bunch of balloons in your package that comes with it. These are quite simply 11-inch clear balloons. If you run out, you can purchase them from balloon shops, party supply stores. The clear ones are either a Qualitex brand, or in the States you can get Tuftex, Tuftex. 11 inches is the size you want. You are going to need, to do the effect once, you're going to need 2 decks of cards. If you're going to be giving, if you want to do it 2 or 3 times, you will need 1 deck in play, and then you will need how many decks you're going to set up for how many times you're going to do it. It's also a really pretty thing if you tie the balloon at the end and give the balloon away with the deck in as a souvenir. That's kind of a cool little giveaway. Also, if you do put a deck in a balloon and tie it up and give it to them as a souvenir, If you were to fill a balloon with helium, it would only last for about 16 hours, because the helium, a lot of people don't know this, but latex has pores like skin, and the helium would leak out. But seeing as we're just putting our breath in there, that thing will stay tied, and as long as they don't pop it, it will last a very, very long time. So let's get into it. So first of all, when you purchase Airtight, if you purchased it in the past, and by the way, you're only going to get this instruction if you purchase it from us at Penguin Magic. If you purchased it in the past, one of the things you'll notice is it doesn't come with a video or a DVD. In fact, there's no video out there, as far as I know, for Airtight for setting it up. So you get a booklet of instructions, which I've heard on the grapevine as I've gone around over the years to conventions and things, that a lot of people have problems setting up the deck. They rip balloons, they have problems getting it ready, they have problems getting the deck in the right spot in the balloon. So first of all, before we go into the performance, we're going to cover all that right now on how to get the deck inside the balloon. So the first thing you want to do is, you've got your handful of balloons, and I've got maybe 10 balloons here. We're going to use all of these in our performance. We're only going to be putting one deck in one balloon, but we are going to be using these for our performance in the routine. We'll explain that in a second. So go ahead and get yourself a deck of cards, poker size. You want to remove your jokers and your guarantee cards. You then want to give the cards a really good shuffle so they're well and truly mixed. Okay? Go ahead and take one card and set it aside, doesn't matter what it is. And then go ahead and take these cards and mix them face up and face down. You may have noticed I had a joker in there and I just told you to take them out, so I'm breaking my own rules. That's okay. So we've shuffled these face up and face down like this, so they're kind of mixed. The reason we do this is because inside the balloon, we're going to be shaking the balloon and apparently mixing the cards. Now, sometimes if the balloon is not inflated large enough, there's not enough room for the cards to actually turn over and mix. So we're going to put them in this position so it looks like when we shake them in the balloon, they are mixing face up and face down. So we're going to do this before we begin. We're going to make sure if there's a face-up card on both sides, we're going to take one card and turn it face down. Okay? Now, the next part, in a moment, we're going to be holding the deck in our mouth, between our teeth, in order to help us put the balloon on the deck. So it will be like this. I like to open my mouth wide enough that I can get it around the sides of the deck here. But you want to make sure you get a good grip on it, because what you don't want to do is get partway through putting the balloon on, and the deck slip out of your teeth and go all over the place. So you make sure you got a good grip on that. Now, before we do that, let's discuss how to get the balloon ready for putting the deck inside. So essentially what you want to do is put your two fingers in the top. I generally put my first two fingers in the top like this. And then I'm going to walk in my second fingers and stretch out. Then I'm going to work my first fingers in lower, then my second fingers, then my first fingers, and I keep going down until I'm at the bottom of the balloon. Okay? Now, you are going to have to stretch this really hard. You've got to put it, there's a lot of pressure there, so you've really got to pull it wide. So you're going to have to work on those biceps, maybe go to the gym a bit, get everything pumped up so you've got the muscle to do this. But you're going to pull that right out. Now, don't be scared. It's not going to snap at this point, okay? So essentially what's going to happen in a minute is we're going to stretch this right out, and it's going to go over the deck, okay? So we'll do that right now. So this feed in the balloon, you don't do it now, you do it once the deck's in your mouth. So this is how it looks. So here's the deck. All right. Goes down the balloon. Set. And then once you're in this position, my fingers are locked in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger of the left hand on the top of the deck and use that to anchor while I stretch this side over, and then pull this side over and pull my fingers out. That's it. Now, we got pretty lucky here because a lot of times this will be on the back of the deck. We need it to be on the face of the deck, so if we were to pull it up, we can hide it like this. This is pretty good. I got a bit of a bubble here. Now, if this happens, if you get a bubble, or if this isn't in the right spot, because ideally I want it to be more up here, what you're going to do is you're going to hold the deck in the left hand, hold with the right fingers. You're going to inflate the balloon ever so slightly like this. Okay, so at this point now, we want to put the deck more under the nozzle, so directly under the nozzle. Now, what you can do here, it's a little tight, that balloon. So if I try and grab the deck, I want to grab the deck, and I'm going to use my fingers to kind of position it together. See, I'm putting this finger on the top, this finger on the bottom, and the thumb and two fingers on the sides. And you see it's now more under the nozzle. So the nozzle's going to be more central on the deck. Now, before you grip the deck, if you feel that's a little tight, what you can do is what's called burp the balloon, where you just let a little bit of air out, which will make the balloon softer, okay? If you feel this balloon's too tight in this process, you need to release some air and soften it a bit. Otherwise, it's going to burst on you, and you don't want that, okay? So in this position, I'm going to line the deck up, and if what you want to do is using the finger, is just kind of allow the deck, just use these fingers to work that deck over to the position you want it. So just move it around in there, roll it around a little bit so it's under the nozzle, like this, and then let a little air out. And now, if I were to let go now, what I'll end up with is a big lump under here, which I don't want. So you go ahead and put it on a hard surface, and you press down. Now this is getting a bit tight, so I'm going to release a little pressure. And then you're going to put your finger just in and hold the deck down against the table. Make sure everything's lined up, and then you can let this go, okay? Now, I've got a little bit, this is a good situation to show. So I've got too much there, so I'm going to inflate again. And I'm going to move the deck more out in this direction, like this, over that side of the balloon. I want it kind of over that big, see that now is what I had on the front, but now it's underneath. So we get it in position. Finger on top. Use the fingers to line the deck up. Allow this to go down. So now we've just moved what was on the front underneath. So that's a really good example, because from the front, I want this. If I were to, and this nozzle's now in the middle, so if I were to fold this down like this, and I were to turn this over and put a card on top, it's going to look from the front like a deck of cards. Now, this is a slightly different color, but you've got to remember, think like Omnideck or something like that. From the audience's perspective, this will look like the same deck of cards. And this is essentially the look you want, nice and clean. I've got a little too much air in here, but you know what? I'm rather than keep blowing this balloon up, I'm okay with that, because I can hide it with this card and I can apply some pressure. So I'm okay with that. But my point is that you can keep moving this pack around inside until you get it into the position you want. Okay? Okay, so yeah, we've got a little too much air there, but that's fine because it's going to be under this card. You take the indifferent card that you set aside and you're going to put this on top of the deck. So essentially this is what you have. Now, let me talk about the switch for a second. So in the original instructions, they talk about switching this deck in a case, because essentially what you're going to do is you're going to have, this is our prepared deck, we're going to have this deck in play, and I want you to imagine for a second that this is in a case or something off to my left if I'm doing you know, a table hopping routine or something like, you know, a close-up performance. The case is here, that's inside, and somebody's going to choose a card, and then I'm going to go for a pen. And as I go for a pen in my case, I'm going to leave this deck and bring this deck out as I come out with the pen, right? That would be the switch. Now, and it works great, but the problem is I can't do this in walk around. I can't do it on the street. I need something more commercial than that. So basically what I do is you are going to need a jacket, a suit jacket, you know, or something like that. You could also use your jeans. It's a little more difficult, but you could use your jeans or your dress pants. If you had a shirt, an open shirt that was kind of hanging down, you could switch in the pocket. But essentially what I do is I place this deck in my little ticket pocket here, like this. So it sits right there. And this deck and sharp is in my right pocket and Sharpie. Or you could have this deck here too. We could put it up here in the suit pocket. So this is the setup. So I go ahead and I bring out the deck, and I show it to the spectators. I show it's all different. We give them a shuffle and a mix. They can shuffle them. I then have them choose a card. I say, I don't want to see it. I want you to sign it though. When you're done signing, go ahead and cap the pen and turn the card face down, blow in it, make sure the ink's dry, and tell me when you're done. I give them this job of uncapping the pen, capping the pen, blowing on it, make sure the ink's dry, show everybody, because this is going to give me a little bit more time. So they take the pen. What I do is I turn my back. I say, I don't want to see. I turn my back, and as I turn my back, now you're going to see an exposed view, but imagine my back was to you right now. As I turn my back, I simply reach in I grab the jacket here, I reach in the ticket pocket, bring out this deck, and put this deck inside. Okay? That's it. So now, when I ask them, are you done? They say yes. I turn back to this position and everything looks as it did before. This is maybe a slightly different color. This actually is glowing a little more because of the lights here in the studio, but they won't notice this. So I take the pen. Be careful you don't tip this up and show the bottom too much. And what I do is now I do a tilt. So I basically lift up on the back of the card to get it in position, and I apparently place this card into the deck, but obviously it's just going second from top. This is their sign card, right? So actually what we'll do here, just for explanation purposes, is we'll go ahead and just sign this card, Matt Johnson, right there. So that's their sign card. Make sure that's dry. So I take that card and I put it in a tilt. So I'm just lifting the back ever so slightly. And if you want cover for this, ask them to blow on the card again, make sure the ink's dry, whatever you want to do, just lift ever so slightly. I've got a little more room than I want on the front here because of this bubble, but that's okay. So I'm in this position. I take their card and I go ahead and apparently put it in the deck. Now I like to come in the back, and rather than just go straight in, I like to come in apparently like I'm fishing for somewhere in the middle of the deck, and then hit it and then push it into the deck. Okay? Now at this point I say watch. All I do is snap my fingers and your card comes to the top, and I turn over the indifferent card and they say that's not my card. So basically without missing a beat I say okay, that's fine, it's not an exact science. I'll tell you what, I've got 51 cards to go, so let me show you something else. Now I forgot to mention that before you start this whole routine, you've got the deck here, the regular deck and pen here, deck we're going to switch here, and you've got a stack of balloons. This stack of balloons here is in the right pocket, all right? So at this point, what's going to happen is I say, okay, I didn't get it, it's not an exact science, so let me try something else. I'm working on this way of finding a card that's kind of cool, and I want to show it to you. I reach in the pocket and I grab, you don't have to grab them all, but grab a good handful of balloons. And in the original version of Airtight, the switch that you're given is, and I may butcher this, but the switch that you're given is essentially you take one balloon and roll it up like this, and you apparently hit the deck against the balloon so it's inside the balloon, okay? I personally don't like this way of putting the deck in the balloon. I've never seen it done live by Jay, so I can't honestly say whether it looks great or not, so I can't go there. But for me, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't personally like this way of doing it. So what I came up with that I think looks a little more convincing is I reach in and I bring out the balloons, and I say, let me show you this other way. We're going to use these balloons. Now, here's the pacing. So I say, we're going to use these balloons and the deck. And the idea is I'm going to try and suck the deck into one of the balloons. So what's going to happen is, now if you're at a table, in a table hopping situation, you can go ahead and do this over the table and these will stay on the table. If you're doing this out on the street, what I would recommend is that you drop down close to the floor and do it near the floor, so they're looking at it from above. This is good for two reasons. One, it gives you a great angle for the flip over of the deck, but also it means that the cleanup for you is going to be a lot easier. You could have people put their hands out, but these are going to bounce all over and go down to the floor anyways, right? So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to throw all these balloons at the deck, and as they're going down, I'm just going to grab the deck bring this finger underneath, and essentially it's just being pivoted like that is what's happening, okay? So it's just going to do this. But under cover of the balloons, and I'll show you real quick, under cover of these balloons, it looks like there's a lot more cover for the flip. So You're kind of looking at a funny angle from here. We may get it from this side, but here's the balloons, and I just do this, and it gives it a lot more cover for the flip. Okay, now again, this is sitting a bit too far off, more than I'd like because of this bubble. But again, I chose to leave that there, so I'm okay with that. I'm just going to apply a little more pressure on the bottom to keep it where it is. So again, let's watch the pacing here. So these are in the pocket. I've missed the first card, and I say, right, I've come up with a new way. Actually, it's kind of cool. We're going to use these balloons, and the idea is we're going to use the balloons in the deck, and we're going to try and suck the deck into one of the balloons, like this. And now it's in there. Now, if you're at a table, you can gather these up and go ahead and put them back in the pocket. And at this point now, what we're going to do, they see it's in the balloon. Now we're going to inflate the balloon. Now, in the original instructions, we're putting the deck in this position, and we're kind of we're blowing here, and we're holding the sign card underneath, which is the only card that's not in the balloon. We're holding this in kind of a cot position. And this works from all angles. However, it's a little finicky when blowing up the balloon. So what I like to do, and you can only do this if your hands are big enough to cover a bicycle playing card. If not, do it from this position. But what I like to do is once it's in there, is I re-grip in the right hand and then put it into the left hand in a perfect palm position, and I curl my fingers up. Now this gives me great cover, because if my audience is here where you are and they're in an arc here, by putting it here and bringing the fingers up and pulling it back slightly, I've kind of covered off my arc. So again, this is about audience management. Ideally, you don't want people behind you anyways, because they're going to get a rough look of the trick. So if you're doing a trick for an audience, don't be afraid to bring the people around. Say, come on around, you'll get a better view from over here, okay? So I put it in that position. Now you inflate the balloon. As you inflate the balloon, it's going to inflate on top of this card, but you stay in this position. So we'll do that now. Inflating the balloon from this side and this side, you actually can't see the card being held underneath because it's kind of sitting right there in the pocket of the hand. Okay? So we're in this position. Now, I would say that's about far enough. Now, as it inflates to here, it's getting a little tight. If it feels tight, go ahead and let a little bit of air out. Again, burping the balloon, which this is a technique used by balloon artists to soften the balloon, essentially. So a little bit of air to soften the balloon. Now, at this point, the deck is covering our sign card. While you're in this sweet spot, what you're going to do, you're going to start to shake the deck. So now we're going to shake up the deck. Now, before you shake, you want to kind of do this to kind of spread the cards out, because if you shake up and down, they're going to be seeing. See, if I do this, you can see the card there. So you want to actually do this more of a kind of a shaking motion, just kind of, you know, if you want to push your palm up to flatten out the balloons so they move around a little more, just till you've got some pretty good coverage of that card underneath. Now, once you're in this position and you've got some pretty good coverage of that card there, what you're going to do, if you're the audience, the camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my hand to this position, and those cards are going to stay there because they're at an angle. So they're going to stay in that position, which is good because it's covering the sign card, which is held against the back here. Okay? Now what we're going to do at this point, my left thumb here is free, so I'm actually going to say, so the deck's mixed. Now what I'm going to do is try and reach in and find your card. So I take my thumb and I push it into the balloon. Now this is almost like that old thing where you have a piece of rubber on top of a glass attached with a rubber band, and there's two coins and you push one through. It's kind of the same thing, because if I essentially push my thumb in for a second, it can almost look, you don't want to push down because they're going to see the gloss. You want to push forward so it looks like your thumb is actually in the balloon. Okay, so I'm in this position. I say, watch, I'm going to push my thumb in and we're going to grab one card. Now what I'm going to do is grab the whole deck. As soon as I've got the deck here, I can maneuver my fingers underneath so they're holding the card. And if it's slightly coming into view, just push it back underneath. And now I've got the deck and the card here, like this. Now we're apparently going to pull the card out of the balloon. Now, a common mistake is to move the hand away and come out with the card. And you know, you could be holding the card and kind of grip at the last second here and just pull. It works. What I like to do is pull the balloon from the card. So essentially what we're going to do is reach in with the thumb, grab the whole deck, so I've got everything there, which is really solid. And then what I'm going to do is pull up. I'm taking those first 1 or 2 cards with me, and then I'm going to grab the knot and I'm going to pull the balloon away from the card like this. Give it a couple of stretches here and like that, which is a lot more. We'll get rid of that box too. It's a lot more, I think, impressive and realistic as you're here and you pull the balloon away from the card. So there's the signed card. And then what you do at this point is go ahead and tie off the balloon. And you know what? If you don't tie a lot of balloons, here's a good tying technique. It may be pretty standard. Some people wrap it around 2. What you do is give it a good stretch, go around 1 finger like this, and then hook your finger in, and then you just feed that nozzle through. It's a lot quicker. Okay? You tie it off. And there's the deck in the balloon, which is an impossible moment. It's a great souvenir, but that looks, how that got in there is crazy. So now you do this and the card, and you say, that's for you, it's a souvenir, and you let them take that home. You do use a deck of cards every time, but really, if you're going to do this, it's a showstopper, and it's a great souvenir for them to have and try and figure out how you did that. So that's it. Now, if you want to do this 2 or 3 times, what you would do is you would set up 3 decks. You would have your regular deck here. You'd have 1 deck here, okay? And then you'd have a deck here and a deck here. This one's in a balloon and these 2 are in a balloon. Now, once you've done this, all you have to do is take this deck that's in a balloon and you take this deck out and put this deck in. And now this is reset because this is the same deck that they chose that out of, but it's just missing that card. But this is going to go, I mean, there's now 51 cards in there, so you can do it again and again, at least 2 or 3 times. And hey, if you want to do this 5 or 6 times, have a deck here, whatever you want to do as far as you want to take this. But now, because of this switch, it's something you can do commercially viably, I think, in a walk-around situation. And then here, you've already got those decks in balloons and you've got a supply of balloons here. Now, if you don't want to give the deck away, which you may not, you can let them keep the card. You can pop this. Now, if you want to pop this, what I would do is grab the nozzle, pull up, twist, make sure you've got a separation point, because if I just do this, it's going to explode in your face, and that's not fun. So grab here, pull down, grab here, twist, make sure you've got a separation point between the 2, and you're going to bite this. So essentially, that now is a burst balloon, but now you can control the release so it's not going to burst in your face, right? And now what you can do is just undo that balloon, go off in a corner somewhere, take that out, square those up, and then in a corner you can take a balloon, reset the deck, and you're ready to go again, right? So if you don't want to leave them with the deck, you don't have to, certainly. And as a matter of fact, if you didn't want to leave them with the deck, it is actually cool to show how difficult it is to get the deck out of the balloon, which kind of overemphasizes how awesome it was that you put the deck in the balloon in the first place. So yeah, that's it. It's Airtight by Jay Sankey. It's an incredible routine, and I really hope, and myself and everybody at Penguin Magic hopes, that by watching this, we spent a lot of time here, but I think that's really important to get in the nuances, and we really hope that by watching this, you will start doing this effect, because it's an incredible piece of magic, and it's certainly within anybody's capabilities. It's not difficult to do. So hopefully you learned something here, either for the first time or you've used it and you learned some new techniques to make it work for you. And hopefully you're going to go out and do it in your shows. So that's Airtight by Jay Sankey. Thanks so much. I'm Matt Johnson. This is Penguin Magic, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. Just a little addition here. We realized during filming, and it's so strange because normally in performance I don't do this, but we realized in filming that I made a slight error. And that error is when you shuffle these cards together, face up and face down, like this. We'll just do that now. I said to you there'll be a card face up on both sides. Go ahead, turn one face down and you're good to go. Put them in the balloon. That's not quite true. What you want to do, and thanks to Dalton Wade for pointing this out, what you want to do is make sure that you have a face down card on both sides. And the reason for this is that at the end, when you take the balloons and flip this over, it's going to look the same on both sides. Obviously, if you're in this position, they're going to see the flip, because you go from face up to face down, which, you know, would fly, but obviously it's a tell that you flip the deck over. So by having a face down card on both sides, obviously now it looks like it's in the same position. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So go ahead and shuffle the deck together, face down card on both sides. Sorry, not face up, face down card on both sides, so that when you drop the balloons and flip it, it looks the same inside the balloon. So it looks like the deck wasn't turned over. All right, I'm glad we got that. Thanks, Dalton.